Hi guys, this is the video of the viewer question posted by Dee Marie from New York. Dee, your question was, what do I do when tendrils, these long vines we call tendrils, pop up from nowhere, and when they are too thick, which would be very scary and very prone to breakage. What should we do? Right, so this is the perfect specimen for you. This is my glabra schlechter. You can see there's one tendril from the very most top and there's one on the bottom. Both of these tendrils belong to two separate vines. Okay, if I untangle as far as I can, because there's a zip tie in the middle which I need to cut off, but I do not want to do that now because I do not have the trellises in hand, so therefore I will not be pulling this out of the pot until my son manages to find some cane today to the requirement I need. So you can see, and you already know that I have multiple vines on this, all glabra schlechter. Now I need to think what I would do. First step of that would be to untangle the whole vine and inspect it. I have my trusted IKEA jackfruit with me, which is my secateurs, and I am taking off those zip ties from everywhere that they are tied on to. Okay, so I'll be removing these at once. Okay, hold on, let me get to the other side. Alright, so they are removed, and let's untangle this further and see what we have to deal with. Okay, right. I will no longer be needing this pole, which was just a makeshift trellis that I popped out of cane, rather bamboo. So now let's inspect, right? So this is one vine, right, which has no top tendrils or stems, but from the middle, right? So your decision will rely on the next trellis or the same trellis you will be using, right? I'll just lay this down so you can separately see what I am dealing with now, and the other to the other side. Here, even if I repot, I will be taking it all out, first taking the top layer of pebbles out and then pulling all the vines out. There's a very good thick layer of pebbles which will keep the humidity around and not have any top layer drying off because of the water being pumped up by the capillary activity through the reservoir. Okay. But here what you must do is, if you're not cutting this vine, so there's a tendency that this would dry off, you need to use the trellis and go round starting from the very bottom, but you have to make sure that you do not bend any of this and break them in the process. If it's too thick that you cannot do it, there's no other possibility than cutting this and making this an individual vine. But that I will never advise you to do, because that will jeopardize, definitely in most cases would jeopardize the new vine. We do not want that to dry off. But at the same time, thick, very, sturdy vines like this do tend to hold on to. But even if they do not dry off, they might not throw off leaves for such a long time. So then you will actually have a bare space in your vine which you are hoping to leave. So therefore, my advice to you, D, and anyone who would try this, would be not to take off the stem from here and restart it. But in this case, this is a total different scenario. You can see how bare and mangy this vine looks, right? It has stopped, a length like a feet, and thrown off this. Right here, you can cut this off and throw it away, or because this is very, weak and not so full of leaves, or since this does not have huge leaves, very nice looking leaves, although this leaf is somewhat good, you can actually restart the vine by taking it off somewhere here, okay, somewhere here, and see how it would be. But like what I told earlier, there is a possibility that the tendril will not, always, because this is so long that it would not throw out new leaves. Again, it might throw off a new stem by drying off the existing stem. Although Hoyas are very hardy, right? Being bare is their normal trait, right? And from Hoya to Hoya, especially when it comes to glabra schlecters, it's not very easy unless you wrap it around to get it leafing again. So therefore, the choice is yours, the decision is yours. In my case, because this has been stopping and starting, I will be inspecting the roots and doing a thorough cleaning of these roots, and then repotting it. But I will be definitely taking off this long tendril if I cannot wrap it around starting from the very bottom, right? So even if I pot it up, I will be taking this vine to the very most bottom and wrapping it more towards the bottom, right, like this, right? Imagine there's a trellis on this, and then starting from very bottom only I will be wrapping this up, because this vine is very long and we need to save space from the top of the trellis too, right? So I highly doubt that most of you can give a very long trellis that you need to keep in your grow tent or your shelf or wherever you may keep it, your personal growing space. So therefore the choice is yours, but don't panic. I mean, like, even if you restart this, right, as a separate vine, like from somewhere here, right, there's a huge leaf here that would sustain. What you need to worry about is getting these aerial roots growing in your growing media, where you need to give a high phosphorus fertilizer, in my opinion, right guys, because we are trying to save this leaf and these vines, so a quick rooting should take place, Right, so that saves you all the trouble. I know there's a lot of advice going on, a balanced fertilizer is enough, and that they do not use any root enhancers or whatnot, but I use it, right? And you can see from the previous video, when I did not keep up with my usual care, whatever that uh, you know illnesses or setbacks that the plants would have avoided, uh, you know I couldn't I couldn't avoid them, quite frankly, because I did not keep up with my old fertilizer regime. That's how it is, because there are so many weather changes, and when it comes to those weather changes, when it's hot, they might need one nutrition more that they have not been getting, especially if they are in the active growth mode. So you have to choose according to your vine. You have to choose and see what you want to do or not want to do that would suit for your climate, your growing space, your lifestyle, and basically the time you have in your hand to care for your Hoyas. Alrighty, so what I did was I just wrapped it around 4 poles of cane, which I tied from the top. I need to straighten that out a bit and neaten it up from the top, but let's see. So what I did was I started from the bottom, and no, I did not cut any of the vines off and restart them. They have been just pulled to the sides and just wrapped around, trying to get them towards the bottom as much as possible. But it should be vertical always. Wherever you try to wrap it around, the vine has to be vertical. If it falls a lot horizontally, that's gonna cause them not to leaf out. So I've not pulled any of the vines out, as I've told you, and just wrap them around. Here you have to be careful about these bends, right? Because these vines are bare, they are still very dainty, they might break. If you are afraid of breaking, once you tie it to one spot, pull it from the other side also, and then just tie it to the bottom like this. So then it will be much more stable here, right? The bend can be straightened out. If I show you another example, here this is a very soft tie, right? It's just wrapped around once or twice around the vine and holding them down. And here even you can see how I twisted the vine around and took it, but in the process there might be small bends where it would show some sap coming out because they are broken. But it's fine. That's my neighbor's daughter. She's a sweetheart and I really love her. Her name is Uttama. She's 3 years old and she's so pretty. Now getting back to the topic, guys, I have straightened out whatever I bent, and I've just wrapped it around, and once I come to the top, they are just hanging there and they will be fine when they start leafing. So this is how you can straighten out surprising vines, new vines, and just get them retrellised. You necessarily do not need to take them off and start new, because there's a tendency for the new crying because of mother left. So it's not necessary that you should cut them and restart them, because it's definitely, you know, there's a chance that the wine would dry off. See how I have taken it vertically and up on the trellis, because there's much more space at the top. I'll show you if I see a new leaf. So guys, if there are any questions, please let me know. But this is how it's gonna be for the time being. And my Hoya Glabra Schlechter is retrellised with the 2 surprising wines attached to it. See you again. Bye bye.